Here lies perhaps the longest lasting form of participatory democracy. 5 individual tribes, 2 large territories, Mohawk, Seneca, and 3 smaller territories, Oneida, Cayuga, Onondaga, thriving in unity. But before we go any further, the Iroquois go by a different name, the Haudenosaunee, which translates to people building a longhouse. When you and I think of Native Americans, we see nomadic hunters on horseback. However, these people settled down in one area, under the confines of a longhouse, which could store multiple families. These families shared living quarters and tilled the soil together too. This communal social structure generated an economy that relied on collective efforts to generate food and other basic necessities of life. This produce from shared labor would then be divided between the families and community generated from the longhouse. This is effectively how the longhouse acts as the cornerstone of their society. In contrast with the New World ideals of the time, the Haudenosaunee were a matriarchal society, meaning that they were women that headed the social order. In specific, these important women were called the clan mothers. They were the highest position of a family that represented all of the smaller families connected to their sisters, daughters, and granddaughters. One of the major responsibilities of a clan mother was to select 4 different types of chiefs: a civil chief, war chief, peace chief, and the sachems. The civil chiefs would deal with land settlements, the war chiefs with war, and the peace chiefs with diplomacy and trade. We will cover sachems next. Notably ahead of their time, the Haudenosaunee had developed a highly functional and successful participatory form of government, where each of the 5 nations would set a number of clan representatives, called sachems, to meet and discuss their intertribal affairs. The 2 big nations formed one moiety or group, while the other 2 small nations formed another, while the remaining small nation that was hosting the gathering would act as a potential tiebreaker. But similarly to America in respect to how the population size had a greater weight in the electoral college come time to vote, the moiety of the 2 big nations had a far greater influence on any given affair. One thing we as Americans can admire about the Haudenosaunee was their value of a political structure that would last into future generations, rather than a social order that would only cater to the privileges of the social elite. The tobacco plant. A major part in the Haudenosaunee belief system revolves around the idea that tobacco smoke can carry one's prayer to a minor god or spirit, which in turn may carry on the message to the omniscient God. Because of their belief system that an individual can't communicate directly with the major god. Similar aspects of these beliefs are still around today. In fact, today we continue reenacting the same theme with a different methodology. Today, in order to reach the omniscient eyes of the public, we speak our minds to social media platforms. And every now and then, one of our messages or posts might get blown up. One of our prayers might reach the millions of minds of the vast online public sphere.